kid. No, that's for the little guy. Nope. What? No! I'm Gary, and this is Coasting with Culture, which is all about combining theme park visits and riding roller coasters with various cultural experiences around the world. As members of the Buzz Bars Coaster Club began heading back home or on to other stops planned post Stumble on My Mind, I took my own side journey to add a few missing coasters to my credit list, leading to a drive into a neighboring state to visit a Christmas theme park, coming back to Georgia for a Bavarian-style town, plus a return to a favorite museum before heading home. With a couple extra days after Stumble on My Mind, I decided to use the time to make a trek for a few missing coasters that could be done within a day, which led to crossing the state line into North Carolina. That drive gave an excellent opportunity to catch up on a really fascinating episode of the Drunk Riders podcast.
This week we are joined by the legend himself, Adam Sandy. Adam, welcome back to the show.
Welcome.
I'm a repeat guest now. This is crazy.
Yeah, right?
Am I up to friend of the pod status, or is that like a 5-time thing?
There's a golden beer for 5-time status.
A few hours after leaving Atlanta, I made it to Cherokee, which is home to Santa's Land, a small amusement park and zoo that has some really charming elements to it, from the various figures for members of the family to pose with, or some fairly scenic photo opportunities as well. One of the first ride opportunities you may encounter is the train that circles the majority of the park, rolling by some of the shops and rides inside. This might be one of the few small park train rides that offers multiple stops, as you can exit at the other end of the park right into Funland, the park's main rides area, featuring several classic carnival-style rides, and their featured attraction, the Rudy Coaster, a fairly large Zamperla-powered coaster that can be seen from the parking lot. While I was on my way to the park, listening to that podcast with Adam Sandy on the Drunk Riders, he had this to say about powered coasters.
So I think my preface needs to be, I'm extremely stingy when it comes to counting.
Oh, my man.
So, mountain coasters, no. Powered coasters, no.
Well, the thing is, behind me is a product of Zamperla, and it is a powered coaster. So Adam Sandy, out of principle, I'm not going to ride this because it is a product from your company, and you have discredited the counting of powered coasters. So I'm not riding it. Nope. Not gonna ride it. Anyway, I'll be back after I ride this. Another neat element of the park are the small buildings with miniature show scenes based on different popular Christmas songs and stories, with some sets dating back to the 1960s. Another popular element of the park is the zoo, with the likes of sheep and goats that you can feed, and other animals that can be seen, such as their camel or baby black bears. Before heading out of the park, they have a large gift shop where you might find some Christmas decorations for your home. After that first stop, it was time to continue to the next, which would be the first of 2 mountain coasters, and a chance to make up for missing this one back in April after Stumble 325. Located on the side of Scaly Mountain, Highlands Outpost offers several attractions, including snow tubing in the winter, gem mining, and trout fishing. The main attraction, though, would be the Scaly Mountain Screamer, a mountain coaster that really winds through the woods in the early part of it before racing out in the open near their snow tubing course. It might not be quite as scenic as some of the other mountain coasters out there, but it's certainly a fun ride to enjoy. About an hour away back in Georgia would be the other mountain coaster, called the Georgia Mountain Coaster. A ride that perhaps spends more time in the woods than just about any other mountain coaster out there, giving an increased sense of speed throughout the layout. It also has the advantage of being just up the hill from a lovely mountain town with a Bavarian flair called Helen. Located on the banks of the Chattahoochee River, Helen reminded me of Leavenworth back home in Washington, offering a number of shops and restaurants to enjoy, some of which had excellent spots right along the river flowing through it. And just like Leavenworth, Helen has many buildings with architecture inspired by the southern German state. And they happen to be celebrating a popular festival that originated from the place of inspiration, as Helen was hosting their own Oktoberfest. There was a beer tent set up in one of the main squares that had a stage for live music and many tables to sit down and enjoy a brew and some food. Much like the guys who came prepared in their lederhosen, I decided to go a little more authentic and get a Polliner, which they served in a souvenir beer mug. Upon the recommendation from somebody on the BuzzBars Discord, I decided to grab a bite at the local restaurant called Cowboys and Angels, which offers a great atmosphere and tasty food that comes in some pretty healthy portions. After grabbing a late lunch, I went back on the road to Atlanta as I'd be catching up with some friends, but I did have an inkling to check and see if I could make up for the previous day's missed credit opportunity at the Atlanta Fair, and luck was on my side as they were still open. Among the offerings from Peachtree Rides, there was a shameless credit to be had in Orient Express. With a successful Carnival credit pickup, it was time to spend the rest of the evening with friends from the Metro Atlanta Coaster Club and Park Journey, RD and Randy, one of which would lead a more personal tour of a favorite museum in the morning. Back before my visit to South Africa, when I had a multi-hour layover in Atlanta, I had joined Randy and Erica at the Delta Flight Museum, which is located just outside of the airport, offering a look into the airline's past. While it was neat to see before, it was even more interesting to go back with someone who might be even more obsessed with the airline industry than he is with German-designed roller coasters. RD shared a wealth of information about the various items on display, from the artifacts in the cases to the multiple aircraft that had been in service with Delta. Had I not known any better, I'd think he'd secretly been working at the museum as a guide. Just as my previous visit, I got a real kick hopping aboard their 767 that the employees of the airline pitched in to purchase to help the airline through more troubled times, as well as the retired 747 located outside, both of which were built within a couple miles of my Everett apartment. I also love how they highlight the changes that came to the flying experience, along with various flight crew outfits that were tied to special events, celebrations, and new routes. Of course, you can also find an assortment of Delta branded items to take home with you. This museum makes for a great way to spend some time if you have a longer layover in Atlanta, especially because of its close proximity to the airport terminal, to hop on your flight to your destination, or in my case, back home. The journey home would be a little bit chaotic, as I was using the Southwest benefits to save some cash, but because of the flight loads, I had to get a little creative with my routing, which would include a short overnight airport stop. Heading out of Atlanta would lead to a first-time stop at a different airport by heading to Houston Hobby. The layover was short as I continued on west by way of Oakland. I actually drifted off to sleep on the plane and was woken by our late-night landing. Since I didn't feel that the amount of time before the first morning flight to Seattle justified the cost of a hotel room, I spent a few hours on one of the benches in a more quiet portion of the airport to try and get a few more winks in. This made it easy for me to get on that final flight home. It sure was nice to be greeted back home by those gorgeous mountains of Washington once again. As I was thinking about it, I think there's a possibility that I just flew on 4 different variations of the 737 in the same trip. And I don't think I've ever done that before. And with another light rail and bus journey north, I made it back home to conclude another Buzzed Bars event weekend. Another thank you to the guys from the Buzzed Bars Coaster Club for putting together yet another great event. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below for more information about the club, as well as the Buzzed Bars YouTube channel for more of what it's like to join the festivities. Thank you for checking out this look back at the journey to Georgia and beyond. I hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more experiences with you here on Coasting with Culture. Thank you for watching this Coasting with Culture video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button below to see future videos here on YouTube like these ones, which you may enjoy as well. Additional content can be found at coastingwithculture.com, and you can also follow Coasting with Culture on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for announcements, previews, and updates. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care and safe travels.